So down here on the beach, it's horrendous fishing, and the tackle shop guy says I'm about to get my butt kicked. It is what it is. You can see out there, it looks good. It's blowing like 25 knots on the other side of the island, 30 knots. So a lot of wind. I can't really film down there, it's too windy. You can see the promenade along here, and I'm hoping we can fish just from out there in one of the promenade shelters. Going to throw the baits out. I'll show you the bait I've got. It's going to get windy. I've got prawn on this one, just frozen prawn. I've got a whole squid on that one, because I'm figuring with it stirred up like this, doesn't look stirred up, but it has been blowing and continue to blow, is I figure there might be an outside chance for bass, or maybe even a ray. Whether I'm going to throw some light gear over there or not, I don't know yet. There's a sort of groin goes out there. I don't know whether the tide disappears off to France or what, but I've been dumped by the wife and daughter, so I've got to fish and take it as it comes, as you do. But I'm assured pretty well it's a blank. Sorry, this one has actually got 2 hooks. It's a pulley pedal. Just like they clip down, and I'll get round off the wind. Just come out the way a bit there. Going to get round hopefully the side of this beach hut shelter thing, throw it out, and hopefully the tide doesn't drag it out of position. The only place I get a good swing is here, and if it rains I can hide under there. But I should be fishing off the top of that really, shouldn't I? Here we go. Heave ho and out. Wow, looks like I need to get some reel on a line on this reel. It's a match one. I've got 30 pounds straight through. I picked the wrong spool up. Not to worry. It's that type of trip. And tomorrow I might go down the pier. There's a pier down there and try some LRF. But at the moment it's the only place I can fish where the wind is not howling too badly, is round this corner of the island. So it is pretty dire. Looks flat calm, but it's not great. And it's just a question really of soaking some bait, and I'll get picked up about 5 o'clock, something like that. I had bought mackerel spinning gear because I thought it might be clear, but no, it's all coloured up, so no point in that. I think it's just down to bass or a ray. Should be fishing at night. Whether I'll throw a night trip in, I don't know yet. Well, here's the sort of result, people. Although I've got no line on the fishing reel, I've got in this little esplanade, promenade shelter. The people that are in here have gone. I think they got cold and moved on. So I've whizzed all my gear in here. And this is me, oh yes, in my own little beach shelter. Got my gear, my bait. Got the view there. Hopefully the tide doesn't go out too far. And it must be like a Victorian shelter. I'll show you later on. So here's the result. I'm right off the wind. One fish would be beyond belief almost. When I see the lead here, it's probably quite shallow out there. Oh, this guy's just gone past, absolutely reeking of pot, of weed. That's 10:30 in the morning. Oh well, I thought I was having a hard day, but if they're starting to smoke that stuff that early, it must be there's some plenty of weed down there. Maybe should I roll some of that up and smoke some of that? Would that make the day go better? Probably would do. I just got a bad feeling there's a lot of brown weed in here. I don't know. So at least if it rains, I mean, I've left my umbrella in the car. I've got a giant freshwater fishing umbrella. I've left that in the car. I'm tempted to throw some small rigs out, but there's some white cliffs over there. You won't probably see them with this camera. I've only got the one camera. And I've bass fished over there with Wayne Kitchen, small schoolies on spinners. And way down in the distance is a pier, which I think you can fish off in the daytime, and I wouldn't have a go off that. But of course the wind is going southerly, I think, tomorrow, and that's going to blow in there as well, so a bit of a lost cause here. Yeah, when I was over in Cowes, coming over to the Isle of Wight, it seemed off the wind a little bit there, and there was some guys spinning. So I sit down, take advantage of this chair. So I don't think I'm going to get any there. Whether I'm going to drive there or not, I don't know. So I'm figuring the tides are neap tides. I spoke to the guy in the tackle shop in Ventnor, and he said it's pretty dire. The thing is, he was also telling me you can't get any sand eel. Well, I have actually got some sand eel. The Grant from Grant's Tackling Fleet, it was rare to get hold of sand eels as I speak. 2024 this is made. But I've got sort of a pack a day, if you like, that I can use. And I suppose I should throw them out. I've got a spinning rod, but I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I could throw it out and put it in my shotgun rod over there in the holder, in case something small comes along. Probably a decent place to fish at night. I don't know whether I'm over a rock or what I'm over. I could go to wind in and it's absolutely snagged up. But the guy did say, and I think it was Chiverton's tackle, that there's some small strap conkers around, but that'd be night fishing. You can't get any worms, he said. You can't get worms anymore. He doesn't stock them, so no ragworm. So chances of small fish maybe would be half a sand eel. I might have to put one up, just see if it'll hold just inside, over there, just inside that surf line there. I've got these things I've made out, I call them mini rigs. I mean, they really are small hooks, don't get me wrong. I've made them up, and unwind them, I don't know. I have to probably put about 1/3 of a sand eel on each, because I've got no worms. Ideally pieces of worms would have been nice. I could have had a chance of catching at least something small. Just got lead link at the bottom, just a 3-hook paternoster. They're freshwater hooks. That one's got a sequin in the middle, bit of flash. So you can see it's a 3-hook rig. All I've got is a half a sand eel there, going in through the head, come out through the back. This one's got a sequin on it, in through the front of the drawers, out through the back. So I'm fishing half baits, and again it's got a little sequin. Probably won't make any difference at all. I'm going to elasticate that as well, because of the action in the water might twist it up. So there we go, that's what I'm fishing with. Just paternosters and those little sequins. I've got a grip now. I don't even know if this rod's going to cast it. I've got a freshwater reel. It's my pike fishing reel, about, I don't know, 10 pound, 12 pound line on it. I'm going to throw it out near that breakwater and probably, yeah, lose it. Well, it's very cosy there I am. You can see there's loads and loads of rubbish here. And there's a gorge. There's a gorge in the cliffs further up there. People go sort of visitor centre. I wonder if this gets washed down by the storms. Because it's all like timber and there's pieces of wood and twigs and stuff like that. Quite a bit of tide. But what I did notice when I was in Cowes, there wasn't much rise and fall in tide. Even though it was a neap, it seemed to stay up quite well. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen here. And there's no sign saying no fishing, which is dead handy. We thresher shark fish out there, at the back of that, past the cube and all that way. Seems a bit strange seeing the anchor boats where we go outside of that thresher shark fishing. Seems strange seeing it from this angle. I'm rather pleased I'm not out there now, and it's been mountainous seas. And of course, being the luck of the Totally Awesome Fishing Show, horrible weather, but a man's just gone in free swimming over there, so I just don't need him turning right, do I, and going into the fishing lines. I don't think the water's very deep here either, just by the distance as soon as it hits some leads on the bottom. But you never know, it could be a 2 pound, 3 pound bass with my name on it. I'd like to see some of those tappy bites. Lovely blue sky day, but we are on the lee side of the island from the storms. Probably mentioned it before, but I keep my a lot of the rigs in a CD, an old CD package. You sometimes find them in charity shops for like next to nothing. And look, you can put all your hooks in there, just slide them in. You can make up your traces like this. That's a long rig I got there with long traces. Coil them all up, sort them out later. Or indeed you can put the little tackle coilers, you know, terminal rig coilers in there, and they go in the end packs. Actually, he must be a phenomenal swimmer, that guy. He's gone here, he must have gone 300 yards out, and I haven't seen any lateral movement. So I imagine in this bay perhaps there's not a lot of tide going sideways, going laterally, because he hasn't moved much at all, which is nice to know. I haven't got a huge amount of tide. Beautiful blue sky day, but my goodness me, it is howling off on the island. Don't laugh, people. It's like I'm like some sort of magnet to yachts when I go in the boat. The yachties just want to run my boat down and smash into it, drag my lines up. And yes, the guy is coming. He's gone out there all the way over. No, he's coming straight back in by my lines. What a complete wazzock. That'd be nice. 3 hooks in him. Don't have to shout to him. Not even looking. Hello? Hello? What a dick. Gonna get a good fish in a minute. Not watching. Complete idiot. I don't know why I get it. Why do I get it? I just want a peaceful fishing. There's 2-3 miles of beach. He starts in the next one and he has to come back into mine. Nothing happening. I think something's happening with the wind or the tide. I know the wind is moving around the clock a bit tomorrow, because I can tell by the boats that are anchored out there, they just swing. So it's either the wind has changed and altered the direction, or the tide is, well, I know it's ebbing, but what's it doing out there? It might change in some way, shape or form. No bite at all. Well, nothing on the base at all, absolutely pristine, untouched. Just as well heave them out again. I know a lot of people put fresh bait on. Do you know, I've been looking at that, I can't even bother. There's not even crabs out there. Guys, not happening. Choked out with weed. Tide's gone out miles now, as you can see. water must be cold because all the people that have gone in have come out pretty quick. So, thanks for watching the show. I'll see what else I can find. There might be somewhere else I can find another fish. So, trying to think what else I can put up for you guys. I'm sure to find something. I might even have another go beach fishing, but tomorrow, rain and wind. At least today the sun was out, and I tried. To be fair, I don't even think it would have made any difference if I had ragworm or not. It's just one of those days. The weed's horrendous, the wind's horrendous. They told me I would blank, and it appears I have. Let's see, you're away on a bit of a break with the family. What do? I've got to try. So I've come down to Ventnor. I've been talking to Julian in Chiverton's Tackle. Really helpful guy. Can't put a fish on a hook for you, but he sent me down to this mark, and maybe might be a chance of something. It's very, very unbelievably windy. The white caps are ripping. I'll put my big camera up and you can have a look. You can see there's nobody about. It tells you what the weather's like. And I believe it's somewhere between there's a cafe, and down there's the boats he was describing to me. So we'll have a walk down and take more of a look. Looks like the esplanade runs all the way down there, so whether you fish all the way here or not, it's like a little slipway he mentioned, and he said they've replaced some new bits here, so I'll take a walk, have a look. Right guys, I'm down, getting blasted. I've got the umbrella I'm carrying behind it. I'm pretty well soaking wet with all the gear I've got on anyway. I've given it a go for at least a couple of hours. Two guys up there, they're bass fishing as well. It's gone to southeast, even worse. When the fish is in the east, the fishes bite the least. I try and point the camera around it, but it's going to get covered in wind and rain. If I lift it above here, you'll hear what it's like. It's blowing 20 plus knots from the south-southeast. I've lost a fish. That's the real kicker, which I'm really impressed with. The left-hand rod there, if you can see, I'll go over to it. It's the best I can do because the wind hits the front of this breakwater and just blasts over the top. So there I am. I've got, where's it upside down? see that it's just blowing like crazy over the edge. I put the camera out over the top. Lost a fish within 4 or 5 minutes on a sandal, single sandal on the left hand rod. Got a whole squid on the right hand rod. I don't know if you're going to get any of this. The camera's recording upside down. It's funny really. I'm going to fish into the dark definitely. Either get a fish. I've lost one set of gear. That I got the fish off the bottom and then it just went on a snag on me. Good bite, really annoying. Don't know what it was. Lost all my gear, obviously took me straight in the rock. A lot of rocks here. You can see what it's like. The sea conditions are absolutely appalling. We're in the rain. We've actually, Mike's booked a ferry to go home early. He's had enough of this island. It's Island of Doom. Mind you, I had a pint of Doom tonight. That Doom's okay. Here comes the rain again. We're going to go home early as well. We weren't going to. I thought I'll stay with it. I just had it. I'm just giving it a go with the fishing for 2 hours. I don't even think I'm going to get another session in after this. It's just horrendous. They've given, wait for this, they've given a yellow weather warning tonight, and I've come out in it. Mind you, so does the other 2 guys with their lure fishing down there. I'm seeing them catch anything at all. It is what it is. There's the rods. I'm going to put the camera away. I've got them all inside a plastic bag. Anybody goes, you know, does photographing, just take yourself a bin liner. At least you can keep all your gear a little bit dry. This is the middle of the English summer. It's one of the worst years I've ever known. And it's been one of the worst winters as well. Wet, horrible, miserable, grey, rainy. Sorry to be a bit despondent, but hey ho, all fishermen know it's been an absolute shocker on the coast. One fish, and I think it would be a wonderful summer, of course. Well, let's face it, that's enough of the bad weather. My goodness me, it was a shocker. I tried the second day, zippo. You could barely stand up in that wind. Third day, I couldn't fish at all. So it's time to do the tourist trek around the island. But wait, I did stumble across somewhere with a very, very hot forge. And no, it wasn't a blacksmith.
Got blue glass in the furnace at the moment.
Okay.
So you can see this part's cooled down a bit now. You can see the blue starting to come out. So about once a year we recycle all the odds and ends and the broken bits, remelt them all, add cobalt, and then everything comes out blue. So tomorrow we'll be making these blocks for the cows we bought.
So the feel that heat from here.
Red hot.
You feel the heat. Well, they tell you 1,000 degrees or something.
Like, I can feel the warmth.
I can feel the heat from here, yeah.
Rainbow.
Ah, yes, I did make lots of rainbows.
Yeah, they've gone down the world.
It got down.
quite blasted from here, isn't it? You don't ever get the fall off, do you? It shatters.
Sorry?
It doesn't ever fall off and it shatters.
Not too often.
It's 1090 degrees Celsius, centigrade. I don't know which is the new one, which is the old. Celsius is the new one, isn't it? No one says centigrade anymore? Is it the other way around? I don't know.
What are all the powders there that you have over there? What are they?
That's all glass. It's been coloured with
The powder at the top, yeah, that's glass, is it?
Yeah, it's all glass. It's been coloured with different oxides and minerals, and much the same way as this glass we've coloured ourselves with cobalt to make glue. Normally you'd have your clear glass and you'd go in and you'd add different powders and chips on as and when.
And you got the over there the colours. What's that specifics of that? What do you make out of those rows of colours?
We lay out that as our kind of rainbow mixture,
Round shape to start.
and we make rainbow. That's our rainbow.
That is it, yeah,
So
yeah.
like,
Just have to heat it up again.
man, rainbow's popular. Like, you see anything with
Just
rainbow?
all glass granules, yeah.
Yeah, so you have a furnace for each colour. And then
Do they? How cool is that? And they just, well, they must have loads.
it's scary, isn't it? Yeah. And then it's labelled out, ground into different grades from powder through to like a sugary KO, K00, K1, right up to K5, which are big chunky chips. Great big chunky thing.
What did you do to get it off then? You did some sort of tapping
Yeah,
thing?
where it was nice and thin, I just added a little bit of cold on the end of the knife to introduce a bit of weakness, around the base, and then a little tap.
So it just falls off. And what is that, a cooling,
Breaks it off.
slow cool oven or
Yeah,
something?
it's actually still 500 degrees, but
Oh, really?
but relatively it is cool for it. So it sits at 500. The whole piece, you know, when you've been working on it, the fins are several hundred degrees colder than the body inside out.
course, yeah.
So in there, the whole thing comes together at 500, and then it cools evenly,
yeah.
slowly and evenly. Yeah, about 30 degrees an hour overnight.
Sort of totally the reverse of a blacksmith who plunges it from hot into cold
Yes,
to temper it and all that.
Yeah, it's a very slow cooling process. The thicker it is, the longer it needs to take to cool down.
More hands on time. I think I've progressed a bit quicker. Oh, and yeah, I was going to show you how hard it is now. Quickly, it's way too hard to do it.
You've got the colouring now.
Yeah, it's cool.
Fascinating at all, isn't it?
Anything you want to answer to? No, not really. Oh, that's cool, isn't it? So I'm just going to add you some white chips to the food.
She'll quote you tomorrow.
Yeah, I will.
She's talking to Paul.
How do you actually start it? You know, the actual starter.
So you'll see, so in the furnace, and actually if you go back outside you'll see there's a big crucible crucible, big pot outside.
Sure.
We've basically got one of those in there. It's just a giant bowl, and that's got the melted glass.
Oh, it's already melted in there.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I was getting it. How does it get on the end of the pole? That's what I
Yeah,
was saying.
exactly. So we sort of just gather it up like.
I got you. Yeah, like wet wax or something like that. Yeah,
Exactly,
melted wax.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah, other places have a separate bowl. We do have a glory hole that we don't use.
Yeah.
So other studios you'll see will heat it up somewhere else, but we just use the furnace there.
It's like I do when I'm bronze making, and the crucible just keeps it
Yeah,
hot.
that's right.
And they work from the crucible.
Oh, thanks, Liz. So kind.
Yeah, that's right. I do know.
So you keep adding to it when you have a little blob of glass and you bring it out. Are you sort of dipping it in the crucible and adding a bit more each time?
Yeah, so something you will probably see me do it twice. Yeah, I start with a little bit. They call it a nose when you get a tiny gather first. That just helps you get a bit more on the second time. So yes, but that time when I was in the furnace, I was just warming up the coloured chips that I put on and giving them a chance. I was sort of letting the glass drop a bit.
And that bit's just trying to get the rough shape you want, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to sort of get that shape,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then when I take it over to the bench, it gives me a bit of a guide to start making that cup shape. Probably needs to be a little bit hotter. I think I'm going to do that again because it wasn't quite hot enough to get it as thin as I wanted.
Do you just make this for on-site, or do you sell elsewhere to other shops?
We sell online, and we do have a couple of shops on the island that stock a few of our bits, but not loads.
Yeah.
Generally, we just keep the shop here and then they're on the website.
And making the fins and that.
Do people ask for like custom made art?
Yeah, we do loads of custom stuff.
It's small there actually, when you're crossing each other to not hit
Yeah, I know.
somewhere or another.
That's what their next move. Only once have I accidentally brushed a bit close to one of my colleagues. He's still got a burn in his t-shirt.
Well, listen, that was interesting. Particularly liked how they rolled that molten glass into different coloured granules and then put it in the forge, melted it again to, I guess, dissolve it, and put it on their leather hand thing or whatever that was made of, and then rolled it to get the shape and to spread all those colours. I found that pretty interesting, really. Something else that's pretty interesting is olden time stuff, which I really enjoy filming and learning about. This time, I'm going to pop over, have a look at some old bits and pieces, but one part especially, a very, very old motorbike. I think it's the oldest motorbike I've ever seen. Was it a Triumph? Hopefully it was. So this is a living van, and this is basically all you need. Look, stove for heating. Used to sell those old cupboards like that with a drop down flap, table and chairs, electric up there, radio. Well, a fairly friendly looking dumping box, if you want to call it that. So while your wife's over there doing the cooking, you can dispose of the surplus. And tiny bedroom. Well, your wife wouldn't be doing it because it's a single bed here. with an old wardrobe. I think that's a bush, that radio. I mean, something like this you can live in for as long as you want, couldn't you? Metal on the outside, wood lined on the inside. Survival easy. Better than tenting.
So you fill this up with gas?
No, you fill the top part up with water
Yeah.
and the bottom part up with calcium carbide, which looks like...
White powder, is it like a white powder?
No, that's when
it's
it's finished, it's white powder.
Ah,
when it
sorry.
starts off, it's grey, like road chippings that you see when when they tar the road and put the stone on top and then roll it in. It looks like that. And when you drip water onto it, you get a gas called acetylene, and then you pipe it and light it.
Wow.
And it's about as good as a candle.
What's wonderful is the carburetor, the engine, the valves. You can see how the whole thing, like,
All their own design, all their own bits. The gearbox, engine, carburettor,
Yeah.
it's all Triumph.
it's all Triumph, right?
Yeah.
Proper saddle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not very good. I paid a lot of money for that mess.
Really?
I'm not happy with it.
Oh dear.
No.
Was it the kinks? You don't like the kinks in it there? Or?
Yeah, it should be flat.
Yeah.
Don't settle out, but
They haven't.
Wow.
Oh, I got new toolboxes. He's made a better job of the toolboxes. I've got to fit them. They were pattern part ones, which don't quite go in the gap. So I had one of the originals,
Yeah.
which was when it was stored in a garden shed. It was the good side survived and the bad side rotted away, like the front wheels, a new wheel, because that rotted away because
Right.
it sunk in the mud.
Good lord.
Are they toolboxes, those little ones there? As if for putting spanners and stuff on?
Yeah,
toolboxes, yeah.
because the originals are a bit bigger, and then they would have been left over in the days you would have had a belt, so you would have kept spare links or a complete belt rolled up in them.
Yeah.
Now the springs, I know nothing of motorbikes, we just interviewed a guy down the end there's got that Hudson, and the springs were open on the seats. These are closed, so how do they give you suspension? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
to someone?
Yeah, because you push them open.
Oh, I see, they stretch out that, yeah.
Stretch them that way. The
Yeah.
inner one is open, so you can press the inner one.
Yes, I see, it pushes it
But
there.
you push that's all the suspension you've got on the
Yeah,
back.
because I saw his were open springs, so I think a
Yeah.
bed spring.
Yeah, but
I looked at that
those
one.
are on the inside.
Yes.
And that would have been a Brock saddle, that one.
And the same on the forks here, those.
That is the suspension because that's
the back.
solid.
That's solid.
But that's the same, the front. One goes inside the other and you open
No,
the
there's
spring.
only one. There's nothing inside.
It's
So
lovely.
that it does compress, that spring
Yeah.
there. I got you, yeah.
It's really lovely.
Nice colours, I filmed
Yeah.
earlier, I like the colours of the thing.
That's the original colour.
And I'll move that back just to photograph.
Yep. That was professionally restored, but unfortunately they treated the inside with a special sealer to stop the rust. And then when the new petrol, the E5 came out,
Oh yes, I've heard about that, yeah.
it dissolved it all.
Yeah, it goes through, dissolves seals and that, doesn't it? That stuff
It's awful.
apparently with the, what's it putting it?
It's
Ethylene, is it?
Ethanol.
Ethanol. So tell us about the engine. That's a single cylinder?
550cc. It started off life as about a 3 horsepower, and then they gradually made the capacity and the stroke bigger and bigger, and then they got up to 550, and that's where they stopped, because after this the twin cylinder one came out.
And what would that have been in its era, in its time, sort of top speed, what would that have achieved? It's still quite a big, powerful engine, I would have thought.
The racing version had been clocked at 77 miles an hour, but this one would. What speed?
We've done over 40 on it.
Yeah, I can do 40, 50 miles an hour on it.
And that bit down there, what is
Magneto.
that? That's the magneto.
Just a magneto.
So no spark plug.
Yeah, spark plug's in the top.
Oh, do you know, I thought the magneto was made to spark.
It does make the spark, but you still need a plug to whether
Ignite it, yeah.
Yeah. This is the oil pipe, and you pump the oil in every 10 miles.
Oh,
You
here,
give it-
yeah.
You give it one squirt every 10 miles.
And what's the other pump for?
That's just a tap. That's a petrol tap, just a rotary tap.
What do the levers do?
The tap tank stops about there, so that's oil, and this is petrol.
I see, yes.
So technically there's no oil in the sump, and there's no way of getting any oil out the sump, so it's a total loss system. You pump
Just
it,
burns off.
it either burns off or just leaks away because there's no seals on the engine either. So it's what's called total loss system. A lot of bikes had what they called a scavenge pump, which pumped the oil back up into the tank, possibly through a filter.
Yeah.
But this is so it's got ball bearings on the crankshaft, needle roller bearing on the con rod, and a plain bush on the piston. So it doesn't need much lubrication anyway. And the rear brakes.
Do they have carburetors being stupid? Not there. It's too early for carburetors.
Oh yeah, that's it there.
Oh, that is it there. I couldn't see from that side. Yeah, yeah.
Got rear brakes. I didn't even have brakes. You
Yeah,
told me.
yeah, that's the rear brake. Those little blocks in there.
That's it.
But that's left over from that's the belt wheel when it was a belt drive version, and they just left that there as a brake.
Oh, really?
They made and designed their own carburetor and gearbox and engine, so it's all their own.
And if you had to machine parts inside, was it fairly original?
No, the only thing I had done, I had to put new bearings on the crankshaft, and I put them in the oven, each half. Switched the oven on, and there was a clonk. And Mum said, "What's that noise?" I said, "Oh, good, they're done." She said, "What's in the oven?" I said, "Part of my motorbike engine."
Oh, I bet you're pleased with that.
So I warmed it up until the bearing dropped out. Then I picked it out, put the bearing in, turned it upside down, put it back in the oven, and switched the oven off. And then I bolted it back together. So the big end and the piston are all original. I've done very little to it. It was last taxed in 1931.
Really? Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah,
It was
appreciate
only
that.
used for 5 years on the road. And then the man who owned it, his girlfriend, later become his wife, didn't like the motorbike, so she dumped it in the garden. He dumped it in the garden shed.
Oh, no, yeah.
Then when the family came along, the boys came along, they used it for dirt tracking across Dixon Common. They took the exhaust pipe off, but I found that in the shed. It obviously stopped for some reason, or they lost interest. And then I found it in 1970. And that is the genuine number plate.
Yes,
So Edward Heath would have liked that in his day.
he would have done, yeah. Yeah, it's all very nice.
I'm going to put the original, I've got the last tax disc at home. I'm going to put it back in. It's not a reproduction though, it's the original one.
Is that right, really?
Oh, the controls, if you want to film these, that's the front brake,
Yeah.
that's the choke, that's the throttle, that's ignition, advance and retard, which alters the timing. That's the clutch, and that's full decompressor, and that there is half decompressor for starting.
So there's 6 on the handlebars, and then you start on the down with your feet.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's your number down there, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, they all match the logbook. So we know that nothing was actually.
What is the little adjuster here on that? What's
That's
that?
where the stand goes.
It locks
Oh,
the
I see.
stand
It
up.
flicks the stand up, then you hook it onto there and bolt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got one on the front as well. What you can do on the front one, if I turn the wheel your way, look,
Oh, I see down
you
there.
can undo that bolt there,
Yeah.
drop that down, it folds round, so you can change the front wheel. It's like a built-in jack. So you flick that round, then you can unbolt the wheel and take it out if you've got a puncture. I don't know whether any other bike had that, but that's what that's for. That's a front stand. Right, it's only a little screw chap. Lift the decompressor because I can't kick it over, I'll be honest.
And what does that do, the decompressor? Just
Up decompresses the engine so I can start it.
I find it fascinating listening to those people, the enthusiasts, that have taken the trouble to restore something of vintage age. No, not me, vintage age, like that old motorbike. I mean, that was an absolute classic. And wait for this, boom, first kick, it started. That shows you what engineering was like years ago. Probably a bit Billy Basic, but by golly, it all worked, didn't it? We'll be going back that way soon if we're not careful the way the world's going. Anyway, let's pop over and see Grant at Grant's Tackle Up, who is doing something with stretchy bits of elastic.
Hi Graham, right, I believe you're doing some target shooting with Mike with your air rifle and stuff, and you're on about making a catapult, and I've suddenly produced from behind the counter, like I do, a load of handmade catapults. I have one of my local chaps who makes these up for me. All sorts of random stuff, some with some deer carving, that's a bit of antler. We've got flat band sets made out of alley and resin.
So the alley, they'll cut the shape and then put the resin.
So they probably buy the laser, these are all laser cut alley shafts, so they've already been made. I think they've bought the blanks and then they add the bits to them. This is a bit scratched up because I use this one myself. I've been teaching my son how to shoot the catapult in the garden. So flat band, slightly different. You can see you've got square edges on the top, so your bangs are normally cut a little groove in there for it to sit the slot, and then your flat band sets, we make them up like this. So this rubber, believe it or not, comes on a big wide strip like this, and then we have a jig and cut off sections. So these are done to 19 centimetres, which on most will pull back far enough to where you want.
Yeah.
And you can see we've whipped on the elastic, folds back on itself, and it's really funny. This
so it goes through the loop back on.
Through the loop back on itself.
Whip over the top.
Pre-stretch it really hard and whip it over the top. And this is actually stretching like a rubber band, really, to be fair.
And that's for that job.
And that is for this. You wind it back on itself and you tie it over. So I've literally just quickly whipped one of those on, and that's what holds it, believe it or not. That holds your elastic.
And do they come in different grades?
Different grades, the thicknesses. So it's all about millimetre. So this is quite a thin one. You'll find your heavier stuff, which people use for probably more, maybe some vermin shooting and stuff they do on their own private properties, with like 1 mil, 1.2 mil thick on the flat band. Whereas your hollow stuff, it go on thickness, but you just buy it on the roll of what you prefer, really. So what you guys will probably remember from back in the day, they've changed the name now to King Rat, but these were what they were called Black Widow catapults.
Yeah, I remember the name.
You've got the arm guard, like you can see here, comes down, you pull back, and obviously for shooting a ball bearing, so very popular. And then the elastics most people would have been used to were pre-tongued like that.
That would have been on that one, yeah.
So they splice the ends and then they push them over the ends of the haunches here.
And that just shows that it goes across your forearm, doesn't it?
That goes across your forearm, across here.
And locks it straight.
And then so it pulls back on your arm, so when you pull it, it doesn't pull down. That's just a basic.
Is that more powerful, that one, the old Black Cats, really?
So,
you know, with that arm guard?
So what I would say is no more powerful, that all the power is in the elastic. So depending what you put on it, so it depends what you're shooting. So if you're shooting smaller shots, so like that's a 9.5mm steel BB, 50 in a packet in there. But that's your general size shot people shoot, but they do shoot 12s and 14mm, which is quite large. So if you use a soft elastic, it's going to drop away really fast and not get to your distance you maybe want to be.
You need velocity.
Velocity, so heavier elastic. So I mean that's another type as well. So they're like your generic ones that we keep on the shelf. And then obviously we do spare bands like this, which are pre-tied. I've run out of leather pouches, which I normally sell individually. And then also, Graham, we sell by the metre. So flat band we're out of at the minute, which we have on the metre. So this is TheraBand, which is known for medical trade, for stretching for your arms, for building muscles up, stuff like that.
Yes,
so that's where it all comes from. So that's TheraBand red, and obviously people buy it by the metre. We charge £8 a metre. We sell lots of it, and basically it's double back. You probably, that's the stretch.
Oh yeah, quite a lot of stretching.
So,
yeah.
And then obviously the green one, that's the heavier one. And we also do, so they're tube elastics as we call them. You can see they're hollow. There's the three. So if you look on there, Graham, See the thicknesses of the wall?
Oh, the wall thickness is what you're doing.
Is what you're buying. So that's what the strength goes by. But unfortunately, they don't list it in the millimetre. They just do it by colour. So also,
coded, yeah.
if you look here, then we've got square elastic. So some guys love shooting the square elastic. So that's 8mm. That's 7. We normally do a 5, which is light, but that's even stronger than the tube.
He said just strengthen the square then.
Strength, yeah. So the guys who like shooting bigger shots will probably be on the square stuff. It's really hard to pull, but it does keep stretching if you've got the strength in your arm to pull it. So some guys prefer the flat band. I've shot a bit of everything to get to know what they're like. Different ways of holding a catapult. So you might find generically on something like that you've got a hand grip.
Yes.
If you're holding the grip forearm, you can pull. Whereas these, if you're a fisherman, which obviously we do all lots of fishing between us, if you were to hold your thumb up in the middle like that,
yeah,
I'm going to hit my thumb with a ball bearing.
it's all right with maggots.
It's all right with maggots because they don't hurt, but a ball bearing on the thumb, more
Back of
like
the nail.
take your thumb off will give you a real bad sort of
Black
nail. That'd be
yeah.
horrible. So what a lot of the lads I've been talking to, they all hold a catapult fork, so in your hand there, and they hold the outside of the fork.
The outside of the arms.
The outside of the arm, and then I'm not going to hit me. Don't mean you still hit your thumb occasionally, but when you pull the catapult, you throw your hand down, you go over the top, so you never hit your thumb.
Is there any tips for sighting at anything?
Specsavers,
Yeah.
normally the best.
So it's just down to experience and
It is
firing.
hand-eye coordination. So if you want to get good with a catapult, just pick a distance, pick a shot. I'll get other guys who like collecting them because they come quite collectible because they're
I
all,
can see there
they're
you've
all
got loads of different ones.
Yeah, so like swirly white, blue and white patterns. We've got others on there. Little that's called a Stanley set, designed for tube elastic. So you pull the tube through it. We've got loads being made at the moment. We've got some coming from Turkey.
So they're quite popular then.
Very popular,
Yeah.
very popular. So just bear in mind, guys, to shoot and use these, it's private property only, not in a public place.
Yeah.
It is for your private property. So again, like that little deer carving on there, it's all bound and wrapped with leather. Got the
That
little
is a
ties
deer
on the
antler,
top.
I'd imagine.
Yeah,
as well.
it is made out of a deer antler as well. Little metal caps. Sometimes people do leather ties on the top. I'm quite happy with the cord. I think it works really well. And these are all banded up. So this is Dacron, believe it or not, from an old fishing reel that I've got.
Yeah.
So to make life easier, I've banded a load up with a friend. But we actually really pre-stretch this when we do it, and they're pulled like mad. So this leather, although it's thin on the tongue, it is proper strong. So, but yeah, they are phenomenal. Fries in how far you can shoot. So yeah, look at the stretch.
That's a whole arm width, isn't it? Yeah. It's the velocity, yeah.
And you throw your hand down. So have a look at some of the guys shooting catapults on YouTube. Absolutely phenomenal. They're brilliant for target shooting, so just as fun for that.
Why did they put that whipping around there?
Whip back, give it something to look at. Yeah,
You
'cause
think so,
it
yeah?
could just be a metal hoop if you wanted it. That's all it needs to be.
And that one looks like an old case.
That's
doesn't
it.
It's
So that's a 50 cal
cal, isn't
bullet.
it? Yeah.
So how he's done this one, there's a strod, as they call them, coming down here. It's on a bit of threaded bar, believe it or not. And he's wound nuts up on the threaded bar, and that is filled with resin, and then it goes off. If you don't put the nuts on the threaded bar, when you pull, one day it might fly out the end.
Yeah, that's
so
true,
that is absolutely solid. He makes them. This is all this guy does. He makes catapults for me, really. So,
It's
but
something different, isn't it? Yeah.
different. So I get different stuff every time he comes. I just tell him to make me a few different types, and we have different types of deer antler. We get ivory as well on some of them.
What would they make? I've got to call it.
It's
What do
made
you
of
call it?
steel.
A yoke.
Yeah, so it's made of steel. So he's made a jig up, and they're all bent on his own jig.
Yeah.
So he just makes them all up himself, which I really like. It's a bit different. So, shot wise, I also do these. I normally get a rubber shot, you get a plastic shot, but I prefer these for targeting, for playing with, because they're clay.
They're
So,
clay.
Yeah, so you're not putting stainless steel or lead on the floor.
Yeah,
it
all
is a
over the
clay
place, yeah,
shot.
yeah.
So I think if you're target shooting, you don't need the weight. This is the distance.
Yeah. 'Cause you're going to hit a piece of cardboard.
Yeah, a bit of
aren't you?
cardboard or
Yeah.
something like that, or a tin in the garden. But Mate, what a brilliant thing to have to muck around with. There's some great fun for target shooting at home. Say, with little play balls, things like that. You could even use pebbles. You don't have to use a shot. Do you know what I mean? You could use a pebble. But the thing with a shot is they're more uniform in shape. The fact is you'll be more accurate on point with them. So, but another little thing to have a play in the winter when it's a bit rubbish out. You can go out in the garden for an hour and have a go. But the only way of getting really good with a catapult is practice and time.
Now you also do some things which you get to do yet. Some exploding targets. Do they still work with those?
That's fine, yeah. It's to do with the velocity of it hitting the target and boom. So yes, they would work very well if you are good enough to hit it at a distance.
Oh, put pressure on us, yeah. Especially with me. I've got to find the tree that we're putting the target on first.
Shall I see if I can get some bigger targets for you, Graeme?
I think we need a good one, yeah. So anybody could come in and buy them off the wall.
Yeah.
Or I suppose if they had some, you could get them made up for them. I suppose customised.
I have had custom sets made for people. So I've had someone ask me for a pink set for a girl.
Oh really?
Yeah, we've done all sorts really. So yeah, I've got a local chap and he's very good, and we just we can have anything made to whatever sort of style or specification you like. As we say, you've got the flat band version, the tube version. They're called Stanleys for tubes, but I say I've got some others coming, Graeme. Pop back and have a look. There's some other really cool patterns coming that come in little leather cases and that as well.
And the other thing is, on your own property, you've got a decent long garden, some old washed out tin cans at the back, a bit of fun, couldn't it? You know,
brilliant.
It doesn't always have to be targets, it can be knocking down like plinking, really.
Yeah, it is, it's plinking but with a catapult to your hand, so yeah. No, good bit of kit, good fun, another string to the bow, isn't it, to play with, so.
Well, I hope you enjoyed those bits of random footage tacked on the end of the Isle of Wight film. It's just something different. I've got loads more. Let us know in the comments if you like those, you know, a change of topics at the end of something fishy. What you didn't catch anything fishy, did I? What a trip, my goodness me. British summer, don't make me laugh. Hope this coming year is going to be better. So, don't forget, Mike told me, get towards the last chance if you want to get a piece of clothing or indeed anything for TA Official ready for Christmas. I know I don't do all that, Mike does all that, I don't have anything to do with it at all, but check it out, TA Official I think it's called, and see what he's got going over there. We'll see you in the next film, hopefully. Well, I know, because I do the editing, there will be some fish in this one, and of course I'm going to look through my files now and start putting out these random topics for you. Guys, thanks for watching TA Fishing, and check out Mike's channel, TA Outdoors. We'll see you next week.